Welcome back, everyone, and I am here to talk about joy. I'm here to talk about joy and to figure out what your source of joy is. Everyone's source of joy is different, but especially in today's times with this pandemic that we're going through, our sources of joy become really important because some of the things that maybe gave us joy before are gone. They've disappeared, or they're not as prominent as they used to be. So where does your joy come from? For a lot of people, their joy comes from work. Their fulfillment comes from being productive, being busy, being a high achiever. Some people, their joy comes from material possessions and wealth and status. Some people, their joy comes from other people. Some people are so focused and fixated on getting joy and recognition from others. It's not that we want to always compare ourselves with others, but it's almost hard not to when we see other people and their success and their accomplishments. It's hard not to compare ourselves with others. Many of the things that I've mentioned are external. They're things outside of us. And I'm telling you that all of us, myself included, rely sometimes too much on external sources of joy. I can remember growing up and wanting so badly the approval of my father, wanting his praise, wanting his recognition. And for him, it was all about work. His identity was through work, and he valued a strong work ethic. He worked incredibly hard as a father and as a husband. I thought that to get his approval, that's what I needed to emulate. That's what I needed to be. I needed to be a hard worker. So I did. I worked very hard, whether it be through schooling, through sports, and I realized not just that he might not be the one to give it to me, or he might not be overly demonstrative in his love or in his praise or approval. I realized that, but I also realized that relying on others, even a parent or a spouse or a close friend, for approval and acceptance and love is not a good focus. It's just not. Of course, we like it when other people like us and feel good about us. But to have our primary focus be others' praise and approval is not a good focus. I'm suggesting that you move from external to internal. That your love and that your joy become internally driven instead of externally driven. Now, how do you do that? You know, a lot of people, when I say that to them, they're like, how do you get that internal self-confidence and self-esteem? How do you get that? Well, one way is to start praising yourself. Start patting yourself on the back. Start acknowledging the good in you. I will sometimes have people actually write down on 10 index cards 10 positive traits about themselves. I am intelligent. I am a hard worker. I am a good friend, a loyal friend. And read them in the morning when you wake up and in the evening when you go to bed. Focus on the good in you. A lot of people are not good at that. We rely too much on others for praise and approval. Another thing that we can do is we can communicate assertively, directly, respectfully, honestly. That's another way to generate that internal joy and happiness. When we're able to set boundaries, draw lines in the sand, say no at appropriate times, that will give us a sense of joy and a sense of happiness from within. Something else that a lot of people don't realize is that people with self-confidence have the ability to forgive themselves when they mess up. Let's face it, we all mess up. We all make mistakes. But do you hang on to it? Does it linger over an extended period of time? I'm encouraging you to learn to forgive yourself and others, but especially yourself, because we are our own worst enemy. That will give you greater self-confidence and joy from inside. Something else that I find especially helpful when it comes to internal joy and confidence, and that is exercise, physical activity, doing things for yourself, not for others, not because you have to, but because you choose to, because you want to, because you want to be a healthier person, you want to be a stronger person, you want to be a better person. And that's why you do these things, to be a better person and to have a more positive influence and impact on the people around you. My faith, my belief in God, my ability to spend time with God in prayer also gives me internal joy and happiness. How much time do you spend in your relationship with God? I encourage you to spend that time, especially at a time when we feel like the world is out of control. As a Christian, I know that God is in control, and I know that He has a plan, even through our suffering, even through our difficult times. Something else that really helps, that is hard for a lot of people to generate, and that is self-acceptance. Accepting yourself for who you are, for where you are today. Work on that self-acceptance. Work on feeling good about the person you are. Not just what you do, but the person you are inside. Your character, your integrity, your values and morals. Feel good about that. It also gives me joy when I give back to others, when I volunteer, when I give time, treasures, talents, when I use those things that God has given me to help others. That gives me internal joy and happiness. And lastly, it helps to be able to be there for others, your friendships, your relationships, to be there when people need you, and to have those connections, maybe with a spouse, maybe with children, or family or friends. Those connections can give us that internal joy that so many of us need, want, and are looking for. So I encourage you to switch your focus from primarily external to internal, because that is the joy that will last a lifetime. Until next time, Dr. Tony Ferretti, signing out.